a whole quarter of the how big of a rally is that in the S&P? What, a 20%? I think I'm being a little exaggerated there.
Yeah, but you can overlay a lot of charts and find anomalies, S&P versus everything else, right? So,
But again,
yeah, I mean, in a
you would have
way,
assumed the dollar mex would have broken down. And the point I'm trying to make here is, I think one of the reasons why it hasn't is because Banxico is not there supporting it anymore. And,
mhm.
I think that's one of there's probably many reasons too. Obviously, you got, the US is, um, probably done raising rates and, a lot of different excuses. But I'm just saying that this is one big one, in my opinion. So, but you're right. There are a lot of
If you look at the
anomalies
mix
there.
versus other currencies, you will see a much more buoyant picture than versus the dollar. Yeah, you have got the dollar.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, especially like that Euro max. Hey, well, we got about 15 minutes. Dale, let me ask you this question. What do you think as far as equities here? We're going into month end, quarter end today. We have obviously a big eclipse. And I'll almost wanted to say an eclipse of the heart and then start singing, and then pass it over to you, pass the mic to you so you could start singing Total Eclipse of the Heart. Would you do that, Dale, for karaoke night?
That's a female sings that.
But it's okay. It is. I know
I I'd
you
have to
can't
be
do that.
castrated to get my voice up that high.
All
It's
right.
out of my range, man.
Well, let me ask you this. Here we're going to month end, quarter end, and this is part of this conversation that I was having
Yeah.
with Chris Weston last night. That obviously is not going to get broadcast, so we can do it here. Um, Chris had mentioned yesterday that April is out of the last 15 Aprils, 13 of the last 15
Down.
have been up
Oh,
in the
okay.
markets. Well,
Yeah.
there's an old saying, Dale, sell in April, go away, right?
Oh, yeah, that one.
Yeah, there's sell in May, go away, meaning
I'd like to see the
April.
market rally into the eclipse state.
Okay,
I'm not sure.
so
So, but it could break into the eclipse state. So you don't know which way, but there should be a turn. There is a difference between the eclipse that we had last year. Last year, the market rallied into the solar eclipse, which was the first one, and then bottomed at the end of October in the lunar eclipse. This year, and that was with the market going down. This year, with the market going up, the lunar eclipse Monday was the first eclipse. It's the opposite. And the solar eclipse is second, and we're going up.
and
So if we're
can you
going up
explain?
into it,
Can you explain to me, Dale, or explain to us rather? This eclipse is like a big deal, and the reason why I know it's a big deal is because uh I'm actually hearing about it from other people. So, not just market related. I have people going, oh, the big eclipse coming on. It's the
yeah,
one we're not
yeah,
going, we
I've
haven't seen
never
this in our
seen it.
lifetime.
So yeah, I've never seen so much, um, you know, awareness, first of all,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that people really are, looking forward to it. If they only knew what the meanings usually were. But anyway, the way you play these things are as turning points. So if you could tell me which way the market's going to be going into that date, I could tell you what I'll do, but I don't know. My preferred scenario would be that any market going up into it, I'm going to look to fade, and any market going down into it, I'll be looking to fade. So that's how I'm trading it. So ideally, stocks can hold together for another, what is it, 7 trading days? It's
Yeah. I
possible
mean,
it could.
because it is when's
Strongest
the
thing
date?
out
It's
there.
like the ninth. Is
Eighth,
that
eighth.
8th? So it'd be Monday the 8th. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So we have a full week.
can we get a
Next
Black
week,
Monday?
six trading days. Well, yeah, I don't think it's going to be more than whatever happens, a correction back to 4,800 is the most I'm looking for.
Got it. And
That's a
just
breakout.
hey, just real quick for those of you that are wondering, YouTube is back up and running. So just FYI. Okay,
What happens if it's cloudy?
go ahead. Go ahead, Ryan.
What happens if it's cloudy and no one gets to see the eclipse? Does that count?
Yeah.
Look, it's always sunny in Philadelphia and Arizona. So just
Yeah.
we'll see it. You guys might not, but the rest of us will. I'm just kidding. It'll be sunny.
Anyway,
somewhere.
check out Chris Carolyn's work on it, and and he shows past history of what's happened, and it wouldn't be a joke if you watched him.
All right.
Because he shows historical turning points based upon these.
Dale, if you can find us while I'm talking about, I want to talk about crude oil. I want to talk about the Aussie dollar, and I want to talk a little bit more about the dollar as a whole with Ryan and K-Man. If you can find us a link and post it in our chat for the GoToWebinar chat, I'd love to watch that actually. So if you can find that real quick,
I'll go look for it.
Thank you. All right, so let's talk about crude oil, because crude oil is rallying today, and it's up quite substantially, going back into the channel resistance. This weekend when we came into when I was doing the week ahead video, I was thinking, hey man, we got a nice little, and I'll show you what I was looking at. We have a nice little head and shoulder pattern that was developing. This would be the shoulder, head. And this was this weekend, right? We were here, and or maybe it was up a little further. It was right here. This is where we were at this week. No. I'm sorry, we weren't. It was right here. So I was thinking that's what. Remember, this didn't exist, right? I'm like, hey, that nice little setup. We get back below 80. I want to be short crude. Obviously, we never broke down, and it just turned around and took off. So crude looks pretty bullish. This is one of those situations that you're seeing the Canadian obviously respond a little bit today, but it could be end of month, end of quarter. But this is one of those things that could really pinch some central banks. Ryan, what do you think about crude, and do you think it's going to have an effect overall on inflation expectations, and do you think it's going to affect monetary policy globally with stickier inflation moving forward? What are your thoughts with crude here?
I think it will do if we have a proper break up. We've been in this 70, 80 zone, lows, high 60s, 70, 80s for a long while. So there's no real inflation pressure there unless it really starts creeping back up. But we were looking at it this morning, and Angela, one of our viewers on the Flow Show, and K-Man were looking into it. And we've noted it in the room as well. It seems that oil suffers from month-end stuff as well. And Kay pointed out on the chart, if you look at the old chart, pretty much the end of every month since November, it's rallied.
There's the end of January, right? So there's the end of, well, let's see. Yeah, there's the end of February. That's right.
Yeah.
That would be the end of November. Good. Yeah. Good eye, K-Man.
Yeah, I mean, Angela pointed that out, and then we went to
good eye, Angela.
Oil, and if you look at gold, has done exactly the same thing.
Oh, really? Okay.
Since the end of October, beat like hell every month end.
Oh, good eye, Angela. Angela, by the way, we miss you in the chat room, just so you know. I know exactly who you are. So end of October, end of November, end of December, end of January, end of February. Oh, whoop. End of we were rallying into the end of February. And this would be the end of the line for gold bulls. Just kidding. It still looks very constructive, but yeah, it's great eye. That's awesome. So, all right. Eric says, "Oh well, now identified. So much for that pattern." Yeah, right. Once Snoopy's on the case, go ahead. What are you saying, Ryan?
No, I'm saying get it while it's hot, Eric.
That's right.
Last month.
That's right. This will be your last month of being able to take advantage of it.
This
once-
webinar
once-
will self-destruct in 10 seconds.
And once retail has it, it's over. It is over. Hey, a couple other things. Let's not forget that copper is breaking down. Let's talk a little bit about copper and the Aussie finally giving it up. I mean, the Aussie broke down. I shorted the snot out of this thing yesterday.
Yeah.
And I
Nice.
really would like to add to it. It's very bearish. We've been talking about, I think, every day here, Dale, about how poorly the Aussie is underperforming this week. And yeah, it broke, but there's a lot of things that broke. I mean, the Kiwi couldn't get out of its own way. And as you can see, I sent out an update today that's just basically said, hey, if we can get any type of rally back to 59.85, you got to be on the short side. This thing's going down to 59 cents. So you got the Kiwi dropping, the Aussies dropping. You know, you got the dollar really firming against a lot of different currencies. And I think you've got to be respectful of that. One of them that's holding up really well as of right now is cable. And I want to show you something about cable. And I'm gonna give you a few things to look at. So for those of you that have sterling exposure, I want you to just stop and think about this for just a second. Okay. So if you look at the most recent drop from the obviously we're in a channel. So don't you know, just understand that we're in this ascending channel. Been there for like literally all of 2024. So if you take the most recent sell-off from the top of the channel to the lower end of the channel, you'll notice that we have stopped shy of the 38% retracement. We're really at the 24% retracement. So because the sterling can't even muster a meager 24% rally, you got to be real careful with it. All right. Now, obviously, there's channel support, as you can see here. And if you go back over to the daily chart, you'll notice that this is the 88%, right? 88% retracement of this entire move. That's channel support. It's the 200 DMA. It's also, let's take that same fib. I'm going to put it back, but I'm going to take it for now. It's the 38% retracement of this entire move. The reason why I'm pointing all this out is because it's an 88% retracement, it's channel support, it's 200 DMA, it's the 38% retracement of this entire move. That's quadruple, and I'm sure you can find some other reasons too. Basically, quadruple support, confluence of support right here. The reason why I'm going to point that out, because when I was doing the trade-off show, my play of the day was that, again, it's not being filmed, so you guys are going to get it here first, because it would have been out, you know, overnight, is a break and a daily close below those lows, which is 125.70, basically 65, somewhere around there. I think the sterling will get the snot beat out of it. Now, I'm not, you know, going to say that that is going to happen just yet. I think we need to see some further dollar strength, you know, following the month end, quarter end. But I think this is one that you really want to trade to the downside on a breakdown. I'm not a big breakdown trader. I like to let them form breakouts, form breakdowns, and then, you know, trade into that, you know, that strength once it's happened. But in this case, I might actually just straight up short sterling below this low if we see it. If it's a big if. Ryan, what are your thoughts here? Do you have any opinions on sterling?
Yeah, you know, this has been stuck in the range as well. My level's more 125.5, 125. I think that's the big level. Some of those last lows to the left-hand side. Yeah, that to me is maybe, well, for me, that's the bigger level, 125. It goes across to that first low as well, that first circle you've got in the chart.
You see a huge pivot all the way down back. I mean,
then
back forever.
Then you've got the 124.50, which has been a bit of a magnet going back. So yeah, you know, whether using the channel, whether using 125 or whatever you want to use, I think if we clear 124.50, then something's happening. I wouldn't rule out that we have a move down to 125, maybe under 125. But then we maybe stay back in the range. But it's going to take something probably from the Fed side. You know, we had Waller yesterday who seems to have moved from a 3-cut man into a 2-cut man and was, a bit more hawkish talking. So, there's still, you have the opinion that the Fed might not even cut this year. If that's the case, that will catch the market on the hop, and then, you might be down 123s even more if that's the case. So, yeah, we're all watching what the central banks do. And in the meantime, you've got to sort of trust the big level. So you can try along here against your channel. You don't need to be 100 pips offside to know you're wrong.
All right. Well, thank you for your opinion there. Hey, look, we got just a couple seconds until data is coming out. So let me go ahead and pull up. We have Canadian GDP, US GDP. Here, let me pull up the calendar in ForexAnalytix. There's the data flash. I'm going to move that over a bit. We're going to pull up our 3 charts here. So we'll get we got yields, S&P, and then on the left, I'm going to put the dollar Canadian because we got both Canadian and US GDP. But let me put it on a 15-minute chart. Let me move this over, and we got 30 seconds. K-Man, we got 30 seconds. What are you looking at today, my friend?
Canadian GDP, January and preliminary February, because we have Bank of Canada on the 10th of April, and
Yes.
I think any weakness may spill over for the market into that Bank of Canada meeting, possibly. But yeah, that's what I'm going to keep an eye on today.
Thank you very much. All right. And here comes the data.
Bit better, the
Oh.
January, but the revised is weaker.
Ooh, yeah, it is. It is revised lower. US GDP.
Better.
Okay.
I'll say it. I'll say it. Yeah, U.S. exceptionalism. I mean, I know it's a theme, and it's been in for a while, and it's probably going to continue to be a theme. Something that
I
you
wouldn't
guys
jump on the dollar on the back of that, though. It's the final numbers, and we're just closing up Q1, and we're still getting Q4 numbers. So it's old news.
Yeah, yeah, I know, but still, right? I mean,
It
the
confirms
thing
it
is
confirms a
US
good end of
economy,
year. Yeah.
yeah, it continues to showcase, just strength. And you got one of the big issues I've felt this whole year, and the whole reason why, not the whole reason, I would say one of the major reasons why stocks continue to break out is because every macroeconomist that thought for some reason following COVID they'd be some market wizard, every macroeconomist was wrong in 2023. 2024 has been a year fully of just FOMO. You have every institution that has been guided the wrong direction all of 2023, that a recession was coming, the shit's going to hit the fan, lighten up, don't chase this market, and they've been wrong, dead wrong. And so, as the U.S. economy continues to look decent and not in a recession, that just fuels a fire of more people having to chase this market higher. Now you got, rate cuts, in our wings coming up. I mean, it's fueling the fire. And I'm not saying that stocks shouldn't be valued where they're at, but it's one of those things it's been hard to fight all year. So for those of you that take that as a warning, for those of you that listen to all these macro economists and people and a lot of these funds that try to cue off of them, they're not market timers. Overall, 2 years from now, they're probably going to be right, but that doesn't mean that they were right last year, and that doesn't mean they're going to be right this year. So,
you would still interview them for the clicks, though, right?
Yeah, we'll interview them for the clicks. Why not? Why not? Because hey, they all sound interesting.
Yeah, I know.
They make a good. It makes for great TV, right? Like,
yeah.
Tell me that death and destruction is coming. I'll buy that.
Yeah. Peter Schiff, the end of the world.
Sells.
He's so hard to
well.
get.
Yeah.
He's been so wrong, and he's still so hard to get.
Anyway. It's great. I'm glad they're economists. They get paid to adjust their forecasts. As traders, we're paid to trade.
Yeah, here's their actionable ideas. Gold could go up in case unless hedgers come in, sell it, force it back down, but could bounce back at support unless it fails. Okay.
Thanks, Dale.
The economy could tip into recession unless the labor market remains tight. But if it doesn't, we could be in recession, except that inflation may keep the Fed from moving, even though the job market may soften. Inflation could keep.
You've got every base covered, my friend.
Yeah.
Every single one. Hey,
Okay,
listen,
anyway, on one
I want to
hand,
say
and
something.
then the other hand, neither of them are right.
You guys, I know Dale's got his interview coming up, and you guys should stick around because you
Larry.
got Larry here, right?
Yeah, I can't promote him again. I need
do it.
executive privileges on
I need
this
to
Zoom.
figure out how. Well, I'm not the guy to do that. You know
It's
that,
Steve
Dale.
Volge. If you can hear me,
Right.
let me out of my handcuffs.
Jesus Christmas. Okay, so hey, let me just say this. Tomorrow is PCE. It is Good Friday. It is a holiday here and in a lot of different places. I'm not expecting any of my team to be here. I'm going to be here with you live tomorrow. I'm getting up. It's Good Friday. I don't care. I'm going to be here. I want to be around for the PCE. I will be here covering it live. If any one of my team members are up and awake and in front of their computer, they're probably going to join us too. So make sure you're here tomorrow. If you're up and awake and you want to be looking at this market, be around. And let me find Larry. I just wanted to say that for all of you that are listening in. I will be up. And a lot of it is because I gotta take care of some tax stuff tomorrow. I gotta grab a bunch of documents. So I'm gonna be up anyway. So why not be in front of the computer? Right.
You know, Blake, on a Good Friday, actually on a Good Friday, I don't know, 11, 12 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer on a Good Friday. So it wasn't the best Friday for me. But that's what I think of as well on Good Fridays.
Well, Dale, I know the 5 year is a big milestone. So
Yeah.
how many years has this been?
Oh, 10, 11.
That's huge. And God bless you for being cancer free. So
yeah,
Amen.
thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, on that depressing note, but it's not, because
Thanks, Dale.
it's a
Cheers.
survivor
Cheers, guys. Let's go
story.
drink.
Hey, look,
Shots.
you got to be a survivor as a trader too. You know, you could have financial cancer by opening an account because you read a book and went live after you read the book. Okay, so the first thing you have to do in the markets, and I'm sure Larry will attest to it, is to learn how to survive. Before you start making money, you have to learn how to survive. Anyway, have a great weekend, team. Ryan, Kay.
Cheers, mate.
Blake, I may get up tomorrow.
Hey,
depends.
if you're here, I'd love to have your company, Dale.
All right, man.
I'll be there.
So,
all right, and Larry, great to have you back, you blue chip daily guy. How are you?
Dale, good morning. Thank you for having me back.
Hey, it's always good to have a guy who knows how to, ride trends. And our interview would probably be shorter if I asked you, what aren't you long?
It would be short. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so you have anything you want to share?
Yeah, you want me to
charts?
put up the share screen?
Yeah.
hey, while
Okay,
you're doing
share-
that, I just want to say good morning, Larry. Happy holiday to you, and thanks for joining us here on F.A.C.E. And I'm going to back over to you, Dale.
Blake, good morning. Happy holiday. Thank you for having me on. I always appreciate spending some time with you guys.
Great to have you.
We've been doing this for years, Larry, you and I want to thank you for your giving spirit of coming here and edifying our community before we get started. So
My pleasure, Dale. Thank you.
Okay, so here we are. This is what the bears were trying to justify the market blow off or parabolic move because the equal weight wasn't performing, and now it is.
Yeah, so you can see my screen, right?
Yeah, got it.
So really, when I go through all the markets, almost everything is in an uptrend that I follow, other than bonds.
Yeah.
So stocks, everything's making new highs. The equal weight the S&P, triple Q, New York Stock Exchange, mid caps are making new highs, right? So mid caps, this is a group I think to focus on. Mid caps, new all-time highs, right?
Yeah.
It's ahead of triple Q. So mid caps are ahead of triple Q year to date. And I think
Oh.
that's important because the mid caps, they don't have a lot of tech. They've got finance, they've got industrials, they've got some tech, but mid caps are a good representation of the market. Small caps haven't caught up yet. And I know small caps are on everybody's radar.
A lot of regionals in there. Is that the reason?
Yeah, small caps aren't on my radar. They could easily work from here, but when I look at this small cap chart, it's still, I don't know, 10 or 15% below the all-time highs versus the mid cap chart, which is breaking out to new highs. So the mid caps
Good eye.
the mid caps to me are a stronger group. Now, here's the thing with small caps. If everything goes right, so here's what you need for small caps, I think, to really take off. You need no recession, you need inflation to go down, and you need the Fed to cut rates. So if all three of those things happen, then small caps will probably lead, right? But until then, they have been lagging the mid caps. They've been so I'm not anti small cap, but I just think that the mid caps, when I just look at the charts, and the mid cap chart is a better chart for me.
Yeah, better relative strength. Why buy the weak sister? And there are a lot of people talking about Russell doubling in the next year. So there are people trying to be long, famous guys, not like you and me.
For sure. And like I'm not, like I said, I'm not anti small caps, but I just think that for small caps to work, everything has to go right.
Are you long miners now, Larry? Had a nice initial wave out of the hole.
I'm not.
Okay.
So miners are moving nicely. We posted a couple charts. So I like HMY in that miners group, which if you look at HMY, what's that? That's at an 11-year high right now. So when I look at that chart, up 33% year to date. So it's leading the group and it's breaking out. So gold is
you have to
strong.
differentiate. Like, Newmont hasn't done much. It was weak. And, there are some dogs left.
That if you look at that, and I don't know why, I'm sure there's different, logistics in that group. But when I look at the charts, HMY really stands out to me as the strongest one. AEM has been improving. It's trying to clear the top of this range, but I think HMY really is the standout in that group, and the group's improving. HMY is a good chart. Gold's breaking out, so that's really good to see. Gold's making new all-time highs right now.
Yeah. How about oils, Larry? It's kind of been seesaw there. You like
the oils are strong. There's a couple that stand out. So Marathon, it's really the refiners that have been stronger. So Marathon, Phillips 66, PSX, that's a really nice uptrend. Valero's been breaking out. Valero big, and I didn't see what that move. Now I will tell you, it went back down. FinViz has some wonky reads, in the morning.
Okay.
But in either case, these are still at the top of the screen versus crude. Crude's still down in the low 80s, 81, 82. This is the crude ETF. But oils look good. Dale, pretty much everything right now is in an uptrend.
How about some cannabis stocks are coming out of the hole? I know it's binary, but they're looking for the reclassification of it from it being a Schedule 4 to whatever, to where you get a ticket.
Canada looks good, and they've got a lot of bank stocks in there, but also they've got some of the miners. They've got Tech Resources. They've got a couple of the energy stocks like Canadian National, but Canada, all these charts.
I was asking about
they're
cannabis.
uptrends.
Cannabis.
Oh yeah, cannabis. Yeah, my bad.
all
So
right.
cannabis, we actually have this. This is working, and I've
Yeah.
got this on our high beta list. So I run a
Yeah.
couple different buy lists for members,
Yeah.
and this is basically on our high octane buy list. And yeah, cannabis looks I'm looking at MSOS because that's the one that I follow the most, and that's really close to a potential breakout here over $10.
Yeah.
Very
And this is
strong.
just retail guys buying stuff like this.
What's that?
It's mainly retail. Institutions can't buy a lot of the cannabis stocks for some reason.
Yeah, I've got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a really big look. You're going back to the
What a
end of
base.
2022. Very, very big range breakout. And I think you've got a lot of potential upside there.
Yeah. Yeah. Thought I'd point it out because I like them.
Oh yeah.
Not for the
good looking
reasons
chart.
that everyone that's listening to us thinks.
Right. Well,
like
it's
them to make
legal. It's
money.
legal in a lot of states.
Oh yeah, I know. It took all the
it's
fun
legal.
out. Took
It's
the fun
legal
out
in
of
Massachusetts. That's a surprise.
it. That took all the fun out of it. It becoming
Yeah.
legal. I'm kidding.
I know.
Anyway. All right. Mega cap kind of dragging its butt. People starting to, are they going to start rotating out of this and going into some of the other things you were showing us?
Yeah, they are. So, and this is something we were looking at earlier this week. So right now, year to date, triple Q is lagging energy, industrials, financials. It's lagging mid cap. So, and what you've
most
got,
people wouldn't think so. Most people wouldn't think so.
yeah, it's surprising, but well, I shouldn't say it's surprising, but everyone thinks that triple Q always leads, and it doesn't. And what you've got right now is Apple's been an underperformer, Tesla's been an underperformer. So in triple Q, there's pockets of strength, like the semiconductors. The semiconductors have been lights out. Maybe they pull back, but I think you still have to have some semiconductors. But I think it's important here to
Lower
have
high there.
What's that?
Lower high on this bounce.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
there's
Right now they
another
got to
leg
pull
to the
back
downside.
sometime. Yeah, they can't go up all the time. But I think
Maybe
you've got to
back to
have
210. 210 maybe, huh?
Yeah, could be. But I think you've got to have some mid caps. I think you've got to have some energy and industrials. And I think this year you could see the average stock beat the S&P 500. And last year the S&P 500 beat the average stock. But I mean, you're seeing right now just everything, materials, that's new all-time highs. You see that's just starting to break out to the top of the range. If you take a look at XLE, and listen, this is good because
it's broadening out.
That's exactly what it is. It's if you talk about, let's say, a table, right? So if you've got a table that's got 11 legs and it's only got 2 legs underneath it, the table's going to be very wobbly. But if you stick 4 legs, 6 legs, 8 legs, right? 10 legs under that table, it's going to be much sturdier. And that's what you're seeing right now is you're seeing everything else. My favorite group really right now based on the charts is the industrial sector.
Yeah.
And
that doesn't say recession.
Not at all.
So
not
maybe
at all.
the Fed won't cut. Why does the Fed need to cut when things you're showing me right now are making new all-time highs?
That's the thing. I think the Fed right now, and who knows what the Fed's really looking at, behind the scenes. But right now, I don't think there's any pressure on the Fed to have to cut whatsoever because, listen, inflation, we still have not beaten inflation yet.
You want to take a trip with me to Jekyll Island and grill these guys?
Yeah. Who knows? Listen, Jerome Powell, that poor guy, he looks like, when I look at him today versus last year, he looks like he's 20 years older.
Yeah.
Because he gets it, he's getting pressure from all sides. You know, they want them to cut rates, and then they want them to beat inflation. You know, they want them to do it all, but you can't really do it all. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, when you see stocks, I mean, Caterpillar 16 times forward earnings is not very expensive. JP Morgan 12
the
times forward earnings.
financials have been flying. Yeah.
Financials have
Everything.
been, yeah, financials have been
It's
super
by
strong.
the world market.
You know,
And
I mean, look
and
at insurance.
it's been happening not with a real weak dollar, with a stable dollar. So I'm wondering, you know, I think the dollar has a little more left in it to the upside. But if the dollar turns down, that's only going to be more jet fuel for this market, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I think so, because that would, you know, help the profits for these multinationals. I don't
And
follow the
yields
dollar
turn
too
down.
much. You're much better with the dollar, but it looks like, where's resistance? 105,
106 and a half.
106.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, right now, when we go through these charts, I mean, other than bonds, right? When we go through these charts, I'm hard pressed to not find uptrends.
Yeah.
You know, even, and listen, here's the interesting thing, is the leading sector year to date, right? The number one S&P sector is communication services, which is part of triple Q, because you've got Meta, you've got Alphabet, Disney's been breaking out, Netflix is breaking out, but you know, I think that you, in this environment, you need to be long, but I think you need to spread out your, you know, I don't think, you know, I think you need to spread out the positions, because there's some nice outperformers. I mean, look at GE. I mean, who would have
The
thought?
old stodgy ones. Yeah.
Yeah, it's up 40% year to date.
Yeah.
There's money to be made, I think, in most sectors. And as long as we get today, you know, jobless claims came in pretty much in line. The
Yeah.
economy's been pretty strong. I just think that we're in a decent environment right now to be long most things.
Yeah. Larry, do you run a fund?
I don't.
Okay, so but you do keep a record of your performance on your recommendations on Blue Chip Daily,
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh yeah.
So all right, we're ending the first quarter. Go ahead. This should have been a great quarter for you. Tell us
Oh
what
yeah. So
you're theoretically up.
well, we've got a couple things. So the tracking account that I use for my actual buys and sells, that's ahead of the S&P, it's ahead of triple Q, it's ahead of
Okay.
all the indices. We've
You're
got
outperforming. Okay.
oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
By a
Yeah.
lot?
By about 300 or 400 basis points based on which index you take a look at.
Okay. It's great.
And then we've got a high beta list. So we've got subscribers with, you know, different time frames. We've got fund managers, we've got portfolio managers, and then we've got, you know, the person next door. So we've got a pretty wide range. And we run a high beta list, you know, with stocks like MSOS and Supermicro and stuff like that. But yeah, all of our picks are, you know, my tracking account is way ahead of the market. Our picks are very, very strong. We track them every single day. I could track the success rate, but I'd say that probably 80% of our posted ideas are profitable year to date.
Okay, who is we and our?
How do you mean?
Well, you said we. Who else
Yeah,
besides you?
so we would be me, the people that work for me. I've got a support
Okay.
staff of about 5 people. And then
Okay.
obviously our subscribers, because with my website, people, you know, where I add value is I post my ideas every single day. So when I say we, I'm talking about my subscriber base, and that's about 850 people or so.
Because some people say we sitting in a studio apartment.
Yeah,
When it's I, right?
yeah,
Okay.
no, I've got a pretty decent, you know, operation here, so I can't do it all by myself. But when I say we, I really refer to my subscribers, and the reason is because I'm in the boat my
I
subscribers.
bet they give you ideas that you weren't even looking at.
To a degree, to a degree.
Sometimes.
Yeah,
Okay.
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can't find them all, but really every pick that I put out there, you know, my name is attached to it. So
Anything
I'm
in the
only,
Bitcoin arena?
oh yeah. Yeah, well, I've got IBIT,
Yeah,
and I think Bitcoin's going to go
to 100.
much higher. I think Bitcoin's going to see 100,000.
Yeah.
Probably, you know, I'm very bullish on Bitcoin. MicroStrategy, I think we've had MicroStrategy and Coinbase on the list most of the time. I think MicroStrategy for those that really want to play the high octane on Bitcoin, I think it's MicroStrategy. I don't do anything with the you know, with the smaller coins and stuff like that. Really just Bitcoin.
Personally, do you own any Bitcoin?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I've had Bitcoin in a Coinbase account for a while.
Okay. Nice. All right, Larry, what's the best way for people to, catch all your action
Two
instead
ways.
of
So
once here every 3
the
months?
the best way, and just to answer your question, because I know you were asking about
Okay, go ahead and brag during this commercial.
no, well, so
I'm
Blue
kidding
Chip
you.
Daily, Blue Chip Daily is the website, and then once a month we post the portfolio update. So just to answer your question, so this was the open positions. This is my open positions tab right off the members website as of the end of February. So we'll update this at the end of March. But being, you know, I wasn't going to mention it, but being that you asked me, so at the end of
Blame it
February,
on me.
here was the P&L.
Nice.
Open positions right off the website. So yeah, we're doing pretty good. And
All right,
then
Larry.
if people want to find me on Twitter, it's going to be at Blue Chip Daily. And the other thing, Dale, is we offer a free trial so people can, you know, join for free, no obligation. They can see what it's all about and then decide from there.
How long is the trial?
30 days.
Okay.
No
Nice.
pressure, no obligation. If they like it, great, stay on. And if they don't, they send us an email and there's no charge, there's nothing.
How much have you donated to charity after this quarter?
I haven't donated anything yet, Dale.
Okay.
I've donated some to the market. I got stopped out in a few things, but I haven't. I got to get my, you know, but not anything yet.
Okay. Just curious. I'm a believer in that. That you plant good seed. You can't always be reaping from the field, or you'll ruin the
I
soil.
agree. Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, just none of my business. I shouldn't have even asked you that, but I can't control myself. So
Sure.
anyway, Larry, buddy, I'm happy for you and your subscribers. Great work. I knew before you came in that this was going to be the story because I know your style, and there's not too many things underneath your moving average bands. So know that you'd be long a lot of stuff. So
you know what it is, Dale. This has been it's been a really good market this year, and I think the key and something that I stress, you know, on Twitter and with my subscribers in this type of market, I think it's really important to not overtrade. You know, because everything's working higher, and it can be tempting to always want to do something every day. But sometimes, just when you get into these big uptrends, sometimes just to ride it out is often the best thing to do. Yeah.
Patience in all markets. But
Yeah.
when you have something working, you're right. It's very tempting to take it and think you'll get in on the next pullback, and you're distracted and you miss it, and it keeps going. So
pretty much everything that I've sold over the past 3 or 4 months, it's all higher. So
right.
And I try to sit tight, but I got stopped
Do you
out
beat
of a
yourself
couple
up
things.
over that?
Dale, I do.
Okay.
I beat myself. I sold Marathon. It had been a little bit of a laggard. I was up by about 3 or 4%, and I liked a better idea in the industrials, and I sold it right before it took off. And I've got to tell you, if I get stopped out of a trade, I forget about it, by in about 2 minutes.
Right.
But when I sell a stock and then it takes off, I remember that for, 6 months. So
I know you take it to heart. Well,
yeah,
so that's something I'm working on, is to just let go of things like that. It really doesn't serve you.
I
Anyway,
try to
and
learn from it. I look back at the chart and say, okay, I sold this too early. What did the chart look like when I sold it? And I sold it to go into the industrial sector, and I went into Eaton, which is also
which
broken
worked.
out, but it
Yeah.
just hasn't broken out the way that Marathon did. And I don't like to sell, early, but it's going to happen sometime. So I just, review the chart and see what could we do better.
Yeah, and you know what? The key word is write it and have it somewhere where you could see it. Next.
Yep, I agree.
All right, buddy. That's a little free coaching from the coach.
Coach
And
Dale.
I have that word, next. Remind yourself that there's always another trade,
Right.
and maintain your health by not getting aggravated
I
over
agree.
things like that, because you know how it is, Larry. You're always not in enough when you're right, and in too heavy when you're not. So
That is a fact.
it's all in our heads.
Yeah.
So I'll see you for our next clinical session. But you see, this was a very good checkup. Your health is good. Your decision making is clear, and I'm glad for you, buddy.
Dale, thanks for having me on. Have a great holiday, a great weekend, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, I'll talk to you in probably July, Larry. I'll get a hold of you.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, Larry Tentarelli, everyone, and find him on X at Blue Chip Daily. The guy knows how to stick with trends, and is transparent enough to say that he makes mistakes too. And with that being said, everyone have a great holiday. Enjoy whatever you're celebrating, and recharge your battery, and make your plan for next week over the weekend when you're not with family, so that you're ready to execute. Regardless, we'll have an idea after the inflation number tomorrow, PCE, I believe. So don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Adios, F.A.C.E community. And I'll see you on maybe tomorrow, but for sure Monday. Adios. Thank you, George, Patrick,